Ladies and gentlemen, you're now tuning into New Wave Sports Radio.
The Zoom, the way it starts with this meeting is being recorded, throws me off. Didn't used to do that. Now all of a sudden you start. I used to like press record and like get right into it, and now it's like this meeting is being recorded, and it like throws off the whole beginning of it. But meeting is being recorded. We're back. New Wave Sports Radio episode doesn't even matter anymore. We're well past 100. We stopped counting once we got to 100. So we're here. We're back. We got plenty to talk about. Let's get right into it. NBA Finals, Milwaukee Bucks. They did it. They did the damn thing. I did not think it was going to happen. So before we get it, since we haven't recorded for a while, who were you rooting for? Well, we haven't recorded for a minute. So, I mean, let's even go back real quick and like recap the whole playoff. So I don't know if we even did an episode after the Heat got bounced, which was, I don't know, that was kind of tough to swallow. Like,
yeah, we haven't done anything. The last one we dropped was June 10th, so like a month and a half ago. So yeah, like right at the start of the playoffs. I don't even think the Heat had been knocked out yet.
Right. So how did you feel about the sweep? Honestly, like, it sucks that they got swept, but at the same time, I remember when they lost game 4, and I mean, I guess this is probably the feeling a lot of people have when your team's down 3-0, is that, like, you know, they just put us out of our misery. Like this shit's not, and like the games, except for the first one where they lost in overtime, they were never even close. Like they just did not look good.
That was my issue with that series. I really just wanted it to be over with after game 2. Like game 1, you could have made the case that like they fought hard and it went to overtime and they just missed some shots here and there. Game 2 was like, it started off kind of the same. They were putting up a fight. But then after like halftime of game 2, just like, all right, bro, this is over. Like they just don't have it. Like no one is in the right mindset. These guys a lot of them haven't played together long enough either to be cohesive. It was by game 2, I already knew it was over. I kind of just wanted to end. I would have liked them to take one game at least just to not get swept, but whatever.
Yeah, I know. You want that game to be early on, though. Like, once it was 3-0, it's like, all right, like, this doesn't even matter anymore. What did you think of, like, the players, specifically the stars or the main pieces? Bam, Jimmy, like, it seemed like nobody really stepped up, like, for the Heat.
So I think not Bam, Jimmy, he had the same... For me, Jimmy had the same, he kind of had the same mindset as last year in the playoffs. Like he was pushing it. He was looking to assist. He was looking to, put people into the game, which I feel like this year was a mistake. I feel like he should have been a lot more selfish this year because last year, obviously, like everybody was hitting. Everybody was filling their role and doing what they had to do. Whereas like this year, nobody was doing that. No one was hitting their shots. Bam honestly seemed nervous 90% of the time to even have the ball in his hands. Tyler Hero looked confident, but he couldn't buy a bucket to save his life. The only person who was really scoring was Duncan Robinson along with Jimmy Butler, and it just wasn't enough. We had to have like KZ got some numbers and shit like that. Like we just started bringing in people to switch it up to try to see if we could get something working, but nothing really went together. And that's why I think it was a good thing, which we'll get into later, but I think it was a good thing that Bam did go to the Olympics just to get more reps in and get that confidence to play at that level, because his name obviously belongs in the conversation with those other guys he's playing with in the Olympics, but he's just, I don't think mentally he's there. He doesn't have the confidence yet. So hopefully he comes into next season with that, and that'll be a good push. And then obviously we lost Oladipo too, which hurt.
That was huge. Yeah, I agree, because like you said, Jimmy was obviously looking for, I don't know if he was looking to be, I won't say like a facilitator, but you could tell he wasn't like, it didn't seem like at any point he was prepared or willing or able to say, okay, you know what, I gotta do this myself, which is fine. If he's not really that kind of player, and there's nothing wrong with that. And last year, Bam was like going crazy. They got a lot of good games from Tyler, like the other guys, especially Bam. Bam, like the other guys will have their nights here and there. Bam is someone who, especially after last season, with the bubble run, I think it was expected that he would certainly be like the number 2, if not even the number 1, and that like Jimmy Butler would just be looking to get Bam going.
Facts.
But Bam couldn't get it going at all. A little disappointing to see, but he's young. He's still got a lot of growing to do. It's not like he's anywhere near his ceiling. I'm not worried about it. I think it's almost like after that weird, going through the bubble and the whole pandemic and COVID and all that, it's almost like it's kind of good for them to be like sort of brought back to reality. Like, listen, last year was cool and all that, but there's still a lot of work that needs to be done. Both from like the standpoint of the players, the organization. So, hopefully they get Oladipo back. Hopefully they make some other moves. Hopefully Bam, as you said, continues to get better. Especially, being that he's going to be in the Olympics this year. So we'll see what happens. It was, it is what it is. It's the bubble was a weird thing. I don't think it was a fluke. Yeah. Of course, every Heat hater thinks it was a fluke, but I don't think it was a fluke. I just think that, that's how it is in professional sports. Like, especially with a team that goes on a run, just because you went on a run doesn't mean it was a fluke. But if you don't have LeBron James or Kevin Durant or like the top NBA players on your team, it's not going to be as easy to replicate it the following year. So,
facts.
Which I think we very well may. I think we'll definitely see it with the Suns. Like, I don't think the Suns are going to be in the finals next year.
Yeah, I don't think so. I was saying that. I was saying that in the weeks leading up to it, leading up to the finals, like Western Conference Finals and shit like that. That this is the year for them to do it. If it doesn't happen this year for Chris Paul, it's never going to happen. Right. Unless he goes to a team that's already stacked. It's just not. Yeah. There's no way.
Yeah, I agree. I think a lot of people agree with it. Like, this was his chance, and obviously he couldn't capitalize. They couldn't capitalize. It's not going to happen for Chris Paul unless he goes to, like you said, a team that's like ready to take that next step. Like, I don't even know who, like the Lakers. I don't know who would he would be. I'm sure he's not going back to the Clippers.
So that's what like NBA Twitter is like rumoring now, because I guess Chris Paul was on a 1 year. So the rumors are now that the Lakers are looking for a point guard, since Dennis Schroeder wanted like whatever contract he was looking for. Like,
he wanted big money.
Yeah, he was looking for something ridiculous that he's not worth yet. So the rumor is that they're going to go after either Chris Paul or Russell Westbrook.
Wow. Chris Paul would be interesting. Him and LeBron are obviously friends, and I don't know. I think that'd probably be a better fit. I can't imagine LeBron playing with Russell Westbrook. That seems like a weird fit. Chris Paul, I could definitely see it, because then it's like, okay, which one of them is hot? They'll just feed the other. Exactly. And obviously they'll still have Anthony Davis. Like, that's a pretty stacked team. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. But like, getting back to the actual series, Suns and Milwaukee, first, before we even get there, the rest of the, like, did you think the Suns were going to make it out of the West? I mean, they played the Lakers in the first round. So I guess once they got past the Lakers, it was like, yeah, there's a good chance they'll make it all the way through.
Yeah, that was my thing. From the jump, I wanted them, out of the West, I wanted it to be the Suns from the jump. I wanted the Suns to make it all the way. But that was the test that I was giving them. Like, if they can make it out of the first round, then they're going all the way. If not, then obviously it's clipped. But I didn't think any other team was going to stop them if they were able to get past LeBron and AD that early. So
yeah, I thought maybe the Clippers too. The Suns didn't play the Clippers. They didn't. The Suns never had to play the Clippers, but they dealt with the injuries and all that. But I agree. Once they got past LA, the Lakers, it was like, yeah, they have a very, very good shot now at making all the way, because it's like the rare situation where you have the opportunity to get rid of like your most formidable opponent at the very beginning.
Well, no, they did end up having to play the Clippers. I think that's the that was the Western Conference Finals. But
that was the Western Conference Finals?
Yeah, that was the Western Conference Finals. And I mean, they took care of business. They took care of it in 6.
When did Utah get eliminated?
Am I tripping? No, this wasn't then. This was right before. After the Lakers, they took on the Clippers, because this is June 30th was the final game. Yeah, that wasn't the Western Conference. That was June 30th. So that was early on. I think that had to have been second round.
Yeah, you're right. The Suns did play the Clippers in the Western Conference Finals.
God damn, that was 3 weeks ago. That was wow. The final series got dragged out so far, bro. God damn.
Yeah, they had a lot of where it was like a few games in between. Okay, so it was the
like
Clippers.
4 days.
It was the Clippers who knocked out the Jazz.
Yeah.
The Suns beat the Nuggets. Yeah, the dude beat the guy up and said Suns in 4. I remember that now. Okay, now it's coming back to me. So, yeah, the Suns beat the Lakers in the first round, then they beat the Nuggets in 4, then they beat the Clippers in 6. So, like, they never were really tested that much, because they beat the Lakers in what? 6 games also?
The Lakers was, I'm trying to get that far. It just pushed me to fucking, okay, here we go.
Yeah, it was in 6. Suns
6,
beat the Lakers in 6.
Then they went on to the Nuggets.
That was in 4.
Facts. And then after
Clippers
that.
in 6.
Yeah, Clippers in 6. And then, honestly, when the Suns won those first 2 games, I thought that was it. I thought they were going to be able to pull it off and just finish it off in 4 or 5, because it didn't seem like Milwaukee was really a threat to them at any point. Obviously, some of the games were a little like some of the what was it, game 2? I think it was a little closer, but they were able to put everything together and close out the game. So I didn't think that they were going to get backward swept.
Yeah, game 2 was the super close one. Game 2 was the really close one, but obviously, from Milwaukee's standpoint, the big thing there was beating the Brooklyn Nets. That was a wild ass series. I honestly felt bad for KD, man. Like, he played his ass off, especially in that last game. Was it it was game 6, right?
Yeah, I think it was the last game.
Was it game 6 or 7 where he had his foot on the line by like half an inch? And
it was the last game. I don't remember how many games that series went, but it was the very last game, because I remember that
one went 7 games. I think
yeah, so it had
7 games. It
had to have been game 7 then, because everybody was saying.
But that wasn't even the Western Conference Finals. That was because then they played. Yeah, they went to play the Hawks and they beat them in 6 games.
Yeah, so I think that was round 2 where they played the Bucks.
Right, they played the Bucks in round 2. And I knew the last game. Yeah, it was the last game, because I think it was the last game because he hit the shot that sent it to overtime. But had it been a 3-pointer, which he literally was like half an inch from being behind the 3-point line, if it had been a 3-pointer, he would have. It would have been game over.
That's why everybody on Twitter the other day was saying that you can blame Giannis winning a championship on KD's big ass foot for touching the line.
I know. And the fact that he wears, for whatever reason, a whole size bigger in basketball shoes. I saw some article about that. Apparently it's like more comfortable or some crazy shit that didn't make any sense to me. But yeah, he's like actually a size 14, but he wears a size 15 on the court or something like that.
It's probably just like the shape of his foot.
Yeah,
like where certain things are. Because I know for me, sometimes like depending on the shoe, I have to wear a size bigger just because if there's too much like padding or something in the shoe, like parts of my foot just it doesn't sit right.
Yeah, I got you. But but it was wild to see all that happen. Like, it was a very weird playoffs. First time in a long time where it seems like the teams that, I mean, I guess last year, other than Heat fans, people weren't expecting Miami Heat to make it. Probably thought it would be like the Celtics or something. But anyway, we get to the finals. It's the Suns and the Bucks. Not the matchup people were expecting. Were you excited for that? Were you interested in, like, what did you feel about it when it was like, okay, it's going to be the Phoenix Suns and the Milwaukee Bucks? Like, after years of it being like LeBron with the Heat, LeBron with the Cavs, the Lakers, Golden State, like, all like the big teams that you'd expect to be there. And then it's like Phoenix and Milwaukee.
Yeah, like I've said before, I feel like that's something that the NBA needed, like, just a change, bro. Like, obviously, some of the bigger names are going to take, which, don't get me wrong, both teams have big names in the NBA, but, like, what people really want to see is, like, LeBron and KD face off and shit like that.
Right.
Obviously, that would have brought up more money.
Yeah. Preseason, that's what everybody was expecting.
Yeah,
LeBron and KD.
Honestly, I think this was a case of, like, we got a final series where it was just really good, just basketball. It wasn't like the battle of the names or anything like that. This series really came down to, like, who fights harder, who grabs more rebounds, who really wants it more. Like, there was nobody on either team that could have done that without their supporting cast. Whether it be Devin Booker or Chris Paul or Giannis, like, Giannis had Chris Middleton there at the end of games, or hitting those clutch shots to keep them relevant, and especially in Game 3 when it was like a little shaky and everybody thought the Suns were going to come back. Chris Middleton's the one that closed that game for them. Game 4, same thing. Like, Chris Middleton was there hitting those crucial shots to put things together, and then obviously as the series went on and they won their 4th straight, he continued to play that role. So I enjoyed it. I did enjoy it, even though I wanted the Suns to win. It was still a fun series. No team at any point, like, I think besides I think it was like 3 or 4 that they won by a big margin. Besides that, every game was really close.
Yeah,
it was pretty much tied the whole time.
Even when the Bucks won by the big margin, like, they're down in the series, so it's not like,
Facts. And it was like it wasn't even until the last, like, 4 minutes that they went up that much either. Like, it was still close up until, like, the last 4 or 5 minutes of the fourth quarter.
Right. I don't understand the whole I'm happy to see whoever makes it. Like, they had to go through 3 teams to get to the finals. Each of those series is a best of 7 series. Like, if you make it to the finals, like, you deserve to be there. Everybody's saying, like, oh, this is horrible, this sucks, this is uninteresting. It's like, okay, you've got Giannis, who's a 2-time MVP, and then on the Suns, you've got Devin Booker, who's quite possibly a future MVP.
Yeah.
Chris Paul, who's like, one of the best point guards of certainly this generation. I think some people would say, one of the best point guards of all time. Chasing his first ring. I thought it was a pretty intriguing matchup, interesting teams to watch. I didn't really have a rooting interest aside from the fact that I was kind of rooting for Phoenix a little bit just because I like Devin Booker. I thought it would be cool for Chris Paul to get his first ring. I know a lot of people don't like Chris Paul. I like him. I mean, he's a good player. He's a little bit of a dick, and
yeah,
some people don't like the way he plays the game and the way he acts on the court. But I was kind of rooting for Phoenix, but like, I didn't care that much. It wasn't like when the Warriors were in the playoffs or in the finals every year. Like, I would have given anything for them to lose.
Yeah.
I was so happy when Cleveland beat them. I was so happy when Toronto beat them. It wasn't even that I cared that Cleveland won or that Toronto won. I just was glad that the Warriors lost. Obviously, I was rooting against the Lakers last year. That goes without saying. But yeah, it was nice to just watch an NBA Finals where it's cool whoever wins. Like, Giannis, like, his story, him winning his first finals, like, I thought that was pretty cool too, the way it panned out.
and as much as I didn't want to be happy for him, I mean, you have to respect it. It wasn't a game where like it got me mad. Whereas like if it would have been the Hawks that did that shit, I would have been pissed.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. Even though they swept us, I feel like Giannis, I mean, it's his time. He earned it. He fought through the whole thing. Obviously some teams had more injuries than others, and that's, plays a big part of why they even made it there. But it is what it is. At the end of the day, they made it that far, and they closed it out being down 2-0 in the finals. So respect to them. Another thing, I did want the Suns to win, not only because of Chris Paul, but just because of their supporting cast on that team too. I feel like a lot of guys stepped up on that team this year. Like DeAndre Ayton, that was like the big story where he completely changed his shit around. And then just like the interview I caught, I read it. I didn't watch it, but I read like the transcripts or whatever from an interview somebody did with Monty Williams. And it was in regards to like when he first got there, talking to DeAndre Ayton and letting him know, like, yo, I don't care that you're the starting center. Like, you need to play like that. You need to work that hard, that like you are the starting center. And he said, for like DeAndre Ayton said, like, that was probably it was the worst thing for me to hear, because it's like, damn, I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do, but it kind of like pushed me to realize like this is what I should be doing. And Monty said that like over the course of a few weeks, you saw DeAndre Ayton coming in earlier, doing extra shit, then started coaching other players, like bringing them along with him, and giving them different pointers and shit. And then to see throughout the playoffs, like campaign going off in certain games, McCall Bridges going crazy. What's the other one? Cam Johnson, he stepped up and hit a bunch of crucial threes, and the defense that he was playing, especially against Milwaukee, stepping up to Giannis.
Campaign stepped up too when Chris Paul was like injured and missed a few games. Like,
facts.
There was people who were saying Campaign should be the starting point guard because he was just playing so well in Chris Paul's absence. And yeah, Monty Williams, like, you definitely can't root against him. That was one of the things that was kind of sad also, was like, it would have been nice for him to get, like, he should have been coach of the year.
Facts.
It would have been nice for him, since he didn't get coach of the year, which I thought he deserved over Tom Thibodeau. It would have been nice for him to at least get the championship, but it doesn't work out like that. During Game 6, so Game 6, like, I didn't care so much who won, but Game 6, I wanted Phoenix to win just so we could get a Game 7.
Facts.
So I was rooting hard for Phoenix in Game 6, but like the last 4 minutes when Giannis was like just going crazy, I was like, you know what? Let me not worry so much about that and like just enjoy this, because putting up the 50 points, 12 rebounds, 5 blocks, like he was doing everything. And
there was nothing.
Things, like, he'd get to the bucket, like they couldn't stop him. Like it was, and he was hitting his free throws too. He made like 18 of 20, which was crazy. But yeah, I mean, hats off. It's pretty cool, given like the whole coming from Greece and working his way up. 2-time MVP, caps it off with a championship. Like, he's already basically cemented his legacy, and it'll be interesting to see how it goes for him, because he's not like what we expect from the other really good players of the league. He's not like a shooter.
Yeah.
For a while, people thought that there was like they figured out the way you defend him, like just set up a wall, don't let him get to the basket. But he's, he did it. So whether he keeps it up, whether he stays in Milwaukee the rest of his career, that's another thing. He didn't leave Milwaukee.
Yeah,
and stayed in the small market team that drafted him, and he won it.
Boy, and I'll say I was the main one saying, bruh, boy, come to Miami, go anywhere else. I
remember that.
I just kept saying that was the dumbest shit he could have done. He's not going to win a championship there. And
we were both saying, like, well, he doesn't want to win. He just wants to stay in Milwaukee, so he must not want to win. And then he goes and wins the title.
I honestly, I didn't see that coming at all.
Me either. But it was cool, I thought. Like, I'm happy with the way the NBA season played out. Everybody like, oh, all the injuries, like, that shit happens, man. It is what it is. Like, I don't think this was like people saying, oh, it's an act. Like, same shit with the bubble. Like, oh, it's the bubble. Like, it doesn't count. It's not the same. Like, it is what it is. Like, everybody's playing under the same conditions. So,
yeah.
The winner is the winner, and they're just as much a champion as anyone else.
I feel the only person I feel bad for in this whole situation is Heat legend Jay Crowder. Boy went 2 years in a row and didn't win.
The Jay Crowder curse.
That sucks.
Whoever Jay Crowder's playing for next year, which probably I'm guessing will be the Suns. If it's the Suns, then never mind. But if he goes to another team for whatever reason, bet on that team to make it to the finals and not win.
Thanks. No, and bro, even him, like he played the exact role that the Heat had him play. And they were saying, the commentators were saying during Game 6 that after the finals last year, that Chris Paul and Devin Booker were texting him like, "Yo, we need you on the Suns.
Yeah,
we need you."
I believe it.
And I don't know, bro. That Game 6 right there was, I put my money on both ends of it because I couldn't call it. I had people texting me before the game like, "Yo, what do you think?" And I'm like, I have no idea. I have no idea what's gonna happen because Devin Booker, the previous 2 games, he dropped like 40 a game. Chris Paul was dropping crazy assists along with like 15 to 20 points every game, and it was just like Giannis is also putting up 30, 40 points every game. Like you can't call it. It's just whatever supporting cast decides to fucking step up that night is who's going to take it. And what did I do? I did Devin Booker. I didn't want to do a double player prop or like a player double on Devin Booker. So that would be like him to score. So what I did was like 32.5 points, but I didn't want to like parlay it with a Suns win. So I did it separate. Suns win, then Devin Booker 32.5. And then I did the next one, I did it as a double player prop. And that one was Giannis to score 30 plus and Bucks win. And obviously that's the one that hit because I knew the only way for the Bucks to win was if Giannis scored at least 30 points. This is if not, if he was in that 20 to 25 range, it wasn't going to happen.
Right.
And at the end of that game, that was pretty much the margin. It was about a 5 to 6 point margin when it got real close. So
what did you see Monty Williams going into the locker room after while Milwaukee was celebrating, and he goes into the locker room in the middle of the celebration to congratulate them and give his little speech? Like, did you see that video?
Yeah, I saw that. That's another reason why I like Monty as a coach. Like, he's just like that kind of guy.
There were people talking about that today. It was actually, I thought the same thing. I was like, oh, that's nice of him. He went and congratulated them. There was people that were like, kind of not shitting on him, but saying like, oh, he walked into the locker room, made them stop their celebration just so he could have his moment. And, I was like, wow, I mean, wasn't something that I was thinking about when I saw it, but
yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't have thought like that. I feel like he just wanted to like say something to them so it didn't feel like fake. Because obviously when somebody wins the finals, like you don't have the game obviously doesn't end where like people go and shake each other's hands and shit. Like the winning team just celebrates and then the losing team just walks off. So I guess he wanted to fucking, give them their flowers and congratulate them. Then like, I don't know. I liked it because that was another thing about him, like throughout the journey to the finals, like you kept seeing different clips of him, like talking to the players and like, this is what you've been working for. This is what you want to do. Like even on the bench during like, they're down 10 in like game 2, they're down 10 and they end up coming back, but he's sitting there with DeAndre Ayton and just talking to him like, look, big fella, like you got to keep your head in the game. Don't let this get you down. Keep fighting. You got this, blah, blah, blah. Like that's something that you don't really see from coaches anymore. A lot of coaches nowadays, they just like, whatever, you're not performing, next one up, let's go.
Right. Yeah, it was sad to see. I can't imagine how great it would have been for like to see Monty Williams if they had won. Like if that's how he's acting in defeat, would have been nice to see him win it. But Milwaukee did their thing. I definitely would have rather seen Monty Williams win over Mike Budenholzer.
Dog, I would have rather seen. I would rather seen him win over fucking Bobby Portis.
Oh my God! And Bobby Portis had himself a little bit of a game. Game 6, he did a little bit of everything. Did some scoring, played some defense. He got some good minutes. He had the high step down the court to get the technical foul. Which, come on, you gotta know that's gonna be a technical foul. Like he was so blatantly showing up the referee.
Bro, there was so many times during that game that he was doing stuff like that, and it just wasn't getting called. And I'm just like, bro, come on. Like when he did the high step shit down the court, I was like, okay, bro, that's it. Like, come on, call it. And finally they gave it to him. But damn, bro. That was just one player where it's just like, dog, he's crazy. He's out of his mind. I did not
forget that Nikola Mirotic, is that whose jaw he shattered and is like not even in the league anymore? Was it Mirotic?
I don't remember. I think so.
You remember him punching someone in the face during a practice when they were in Chicago playing for the Bulls. Yeah, so Bobby Portis. No, that high step was, and they let him get all the way to the end of the court. They were like, maybe if this guy takes 3 steps and he gets to half court, we'll let it slide. He went all the way. I guess like he was going to run into the tunnel. And they were like, yeah, technical foul, which they should have. I mean, that's a known thing that if you do that, it's like you're going to get a technical foul called every time. Like even Chris Middleton was like getting on him after, like, what are you doing? Like, we're trying to win this game here. Because
they were sick.
Dude, that would have been something if like that would have been a momentum shifter. Of course, Chris Paul walks up and he, clunks the technical free throw. But that would have been a big deal if like that had been like a momentum, like a spot that you could point into the game, because they were winning at that point, not by a lot, but they were winning, I believe. And if that would have like turned the tide and they lose that game and then they've got to go game 7 in Phoenix, like. Yeah, that's like what you don't. It's like your worst nightmare as a team up 3-2, but game 6 is a home game for you. Like you don't want to lose game 6 at home and have to go back on the road.
Exactly.
To give this team an opportunity to close it out in front of their home court. Like
that's not the ideal situation there.
So he's lucky. Like I mean, now it's hilarious because he high stepped like. It was so ridiculous. Like it's been a long time since I've seen somebody do something like that, and they don't high step. They just like run away. Like that's kind of a thing that NBA players do. Like put their hands up and just run away from like the where the action is. Which even that will get you a technical foul. I've seen it happen to LeBron.
I thought he was gonna get a tech on that. I don't remember what happened on the play, but after the play, Chris Paul went to go talk to the ref. And Bobby Portis like stepped in front of him and like did not let him get to the ref. He kept like pushing him away, and like Chris Middleton kind of stepped in and tried to make it seem like if Chris Paul was like trying to get into it with him, and Chris Paul was just like he looked at both of them like what? Like what are you? What, I'm trying to get to the ref, bro. Like what are you doing? So I thought that would have got him a tech, to be honest, because normally like for stupid ticky tack and shit like that.
Yeah, they usually do get like they give techs for no reason. He's lucky he didn't, because I feel like he still would have done the high step and then he would have been ejected.
Bro, and even after the high step shit, they were, I guess the refs were like working on the clock and they were passing the Suns were
he was like,
on
let's
the side.
Go. Like,
yeah. He said he was like clapping at the ref, like, yo, let's hoop. And I was like, yo, nobody's gonna say something? Like, you can't do that.
I remember that Phoenix was inbounding, but there was like a delay because of the clock. So they're like waiting, and Bobby Portis is like trying to do like the half court or the full court press, whatever.
Yeah.
And then he's like, let's go. Like, but he's screaming, like very animated.
Screaming.
You're right. He could have easily gotten teed up for that too. But he didn't. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with the NBA next year. The moves that are made, the teams that look like they're going to be the contenders.
I just want one player. I just want one player to understand what he did this year, and that's Brian Forbes of the Milwaukee Bucks.
Bryn Forbes.
Yeah, right? Bryn. I don't know how you say his name, but Bryn Forbes. This cocksucker.
Haven't seen him since the first round.
Bro, I saw the stat yesterday and I had to like the tweet and go back for it right now. He hit 16 threes in the 4 games versus the Heat. This dude hit 17 threes in the next 16 games.
Jesus.
The Heat killer did nothing the rest of the playoffs. He was a mime. He was invisible, bro.
Are the Miami Heat the only team that, like, they can't be? There's no, like, but they have, like, the randomest people just, like, destroy the Heat.
Always.
Every time they play them.
Who is it that says that all the time? Heat versus haters. They talk about that all the time, especially this season. That happened to them so much where it was just like random ass players are just having the game of their life.
Fournier is one of them.
Yeah, you'll never play like that ever again. But you got it off against the Heat. Same thing like Jared Dudley and Dwayne Wade's final game. Same thing. It always happens to the Heat for no reason,
What are you
bro.
doing?
Like, why? Why? This does nothing for you guys. You guys aren't going. Anyways, it's just always the Heat, bro. We always have that luck where it's just like a random ass guy on the other team just goes crazy on us, and it's up to us to stop them somehow.
If they could play the Heat every game of the season, they'd be all stars. Like if Evan Fournier would be an all star if the Orlando Magic or whatever team he's playing on played the Heat every game.
Doug, if the Heat had to play, if that's how the NBA worked, like if the Heat had to play the Magic every single game of the whole season, the Heat would never go anywhere.
Yeah,
they would go.
Orlando Magic would be a playoff team.
Yeah, they would go all the way. They'd go to the finals if they had to just play the Heat the entire way.
Oh man, NBA season, it's over. But we get a shorter break, kind of, because it's already almost August and the season's going to start in October, so that's kind of cool.
And I think the draft is next week too, so NBA coverage still isn't over.
And we're gonna get a true, like, a normal start to the season where, like, the Christmas Day game is gonna be like once everybody's like in their groove, and
facts.
Not like we just started the season last week and now we're playing the Christmas Day game. So it'll be a much more normal NBA season. Before we get into that other stuff, it'll be interesting to see if the NBA follows the footsteps of the NFL, who just announced today that any COVID outbreaks or any teams with COVID outbreaks that are the result of an unvaccinated player are going to forfeit games, instead of like last year they would reschedule and kind of do all this shit to like accommodate. Now it's like, if you've got unvaccinated players and they cause an outbreak, you're forfeiting the game, which I don't know. Honestly, I think that's like kind of extreme. But on the other hand, it's the NFL. They can do whatever they want. Like, it's their business. Yeah. It's their business to run the way they see fit. So it is what it is,
And I know that's not. I know that's something that's not to punish the players either. I know that's something that, like, logistically it messed a lot of things up for the NFL.
They just don't want to deal with that shit again this year.
Yeah, I know that messed things up because there was a lot of stuff like when I was applying for certain jobs and stuff, and I was talking to like people in like the TV industry and stuff like that they were telling me, like, it was around like Thanksgiving time, and they were telling me that some of the games that had to get pushed from Thanksgiving Day, that messed up a lot of, like, people who had bought ad time and they overpaid because they're paying for Thanksgiving Day, like, coverage for their game to be, or their commercial to air during a certain game, and for that game to get canceled, like, now they no longer have a spot, or like where the commercial was is no longer relevant. Like, let's say it was like a Black Friday commercial that was going to air on Thanksgiving Day, and then the game gets pushed back to Saturday or Sunday or Tuesday of the next week, and it's no longer relevant. So a lot of people's money is just done.
Yeah, I think the games, like a lot of these games happening on Tuesday instead of like Sunday or Monday, whenever it's supposed to happen, like really mess some things up, because it's just not a day that you watch NFL football. And I think a lot of people, like, unless it's a team you care about, you're not going to watch like the Titans or whoever play on a random Tuesday just because, they had to deal with the COVID stuff. So
Exactly.
It'll be interesting to see if the NBA does the same thing, because I don't know. I mean, I guess there were games that were like postponed and canceled and shit like that. It seemed like it was more of a problem in the NFL, or maybe it just seemed like that because there's less games. So it's like if one game gets rescheduled, it's like a big deal.
Yeah, I think so too. I think because the NBA has so many more games, it kind of like it didn't really seem like it was that big of a deal.
Yeah.
Whereas like the NFL, you only have a very short amount of time to figure it out and fit the games in. And obviously like that messes up your schedule for the rest of the season too, because it's like instead of having a whole week to recover and practice and look forward to the next game, you know, sometimes you might only have like 4 or 5 days now because you had to play on Tuesday and then you also have another game on Sunday.
Yeah,
So,
and like the NBA, it's a lot easier too to like, okay, well, we had to reschedule. You guys got to go back to back now. Like, get these games in one after another. You can't do that in the NFL. You got to give them time to recover.
yeah.
You know, these guys don't even like playing on Thursday after playing on Sunday. So,
and like you said too, with the viewership, like it's hard enough to get people to watch Monday Night Football and Thursday Night Football. Like to get people to try to watch on a Tuesday is just like, all right, bro. Like, I guess I'm not sleeping all week then.
right, exactly. Yeah, we'll see what happens. I thought we were gonna get.
No, I was gonna say I do think it was a little much though for DeAndre Hopkins to say that he would consider like retiring because of it. I do understand like where he's coming from, where like he's basically saying like he doesn't want to be a liability to his team because he doesn't want to get vaccinated, so he doesn't want to like negatively affect the team. Like if he's the one to cause the outbreak and then they have to forfeit a game, like he doesn't want to be that guy. But I feel like considering retirement is a little like you're going a little overboard on that. It's a little drastic.
Yeah, it's steep. Oh my God, this guy I'm watching, I've got the MLS game on. This dude's nose is broken. Like his shit is sideways, gushing blood.
That's nasty.
Like,
That's
oh my God, they're about to pop it in. Tell me they're not about to pop it in. So it's not very good for podcasting. We don't obviously have the visual, but like he's still bleeding and his shit is crooked, dude. Like,
I'm so glad I'm not watching that.
Like it's obvious his nose is broken. I thought one of the trainers came up with like his thumb out like this. Like I thought he was about to just pop that shit back into place. Oh my God. No, they're just putting gauze in his nose. I mean, I'm assuming it's broken. I'm assuming it's not. They're doing like the whole like follow the finger to make sure he's not like concussed.
Oh yeah,
but
that makes sense.
So I thought we were going to get into this before we got into the NFL talk, but Space Jam: A New Legacy, LeBron James, came out on Friday, July 16th. I watched it on Saturday. Did you watch it how did you watch it? You didn't go to the theaters, did you?
No, I watched it on HBO Max.
Yeah, me too.
When did I watch it? Did I watch it Saturday or Sunday? I think I watched it Sunday morning. Yeah, I watched it Sunday morning because Saturday, like I said, I don't know what happened to me. I woke up sick on Saturday and then thank God I'm better now, no COVID, whatever. But yeah, I watched it Sunday morning while I was under the covers in a full sweatsuit.
Yeah. It was a good movie. It was interesting. It's obviously like a sequel. It's not it's like a standalone sequel.
Yeah.
To the first Space Jam, Michael Jordan's Space Jam. It wasn't bad. It was obviously corny because LeBron's corny. It was kind of cool how it's like the same concept, but they made it different and they made it unique. And, they incorporated some other NBA players like Anthony Davis and Damian Lillard and some WNBA players as well. But it's just like, dude, like you're making the same movie that Jordan already made. Like, yeah, I still don't understand. Don't get me wrong. I like the movie. I like the movie Space Jam. I just don't understand why he thinks it would help him, like his legacy, to make the movie that Michael Jordan has already made. You know what I mean? Like that would be like if his logo was like a different version of the Jumpman. Doesn't make sense.
I think, I don't know. For me, like, the movie was good. The people who say like the movie was bad, I think they were looking for something else, or like they were literally expecting to watch the first Space Jam. Like, that's one reason why I don't like sequels of movies, is because like it's never gonna live up to what you see the first one as, ever. It's never gonna meet your expectations. So that's one thing, like, for this movie that I just left out of the picture. Like, I had no expectations for it. People who are saying like it's corny, again, like, it's a kid's movie. It's not supposed to be for people who grew up with Space Jam. It's supposed to be for this generation's kids and like what's relevant to them.
Space Jam wasn't corny though. Like,
first
Space Jam wasn't corny.
No, like, for us, like, it wasn't corny at all. Like, but that's the thing. Like, I tell my parents, like I want to say like a year ago, I was watching the first Space Jam like randomly one day, and they're just like, "Oh, why are you watching that?" and blah blah blah. So like for them, I'm sure like it was the same shit where it's just like, "Oh, this is cute," but like, it's not for me. And I think that was the thing too. And like you said, LeBron is also corny. The first half of the movie, this guy could not act to save his life. But I mean, I liked it overall. I liked that they, like you said, it wasn't like they just tried to act like the first one never happened. Like, there were references to the first one a few times in the movie, and
the Michael Jordan shit was funny when like
when they had Michael B. Jordan come hilarious. Out. Yeah, I think I don't know. I wasn't mad at it. I think that's one thing that like kind of. The only complaint that I have about it is like the tunes, where they kind of had them. They try to like modernize them a little too much. I feel like that's just one thing where it's just like, bro, you gotta leave them how they are, bro. You're never gonna translate those characters to today's world, bro. Just leave them how they were meant to be, in all their terrible racist written glory, and just let it happen, bro.
That was like the point of the thing, was that this guy, Algorithm, is trying to like modernize them, but then once they win, they get back to normal.
Yeah.
So it was cool. Like, the idea was pretty cool. Like, I can't hate on the movie. Like, I would watch it again. I enjoyed watching it.
Facts.
I still prefer the first Space Jam. I think that LeBron probably should have done something that wasn't Space Jam exactly, because like this doesn't help. And not that I don't know if I don't know if he cares or not. I don't know. I really don't know what LeBron thinks about like the whole being better than Jordan shit. Like, he's gonna end up being probably a much more, I don't know, I can't even say that. I was gonna say more well-known, more influential figure, but maybe just money is the only thing that LeBron will have more of.
I was gonna say that, because I think it was, what was it, yesterday or this morning, where he became the first the first ever in NBA history, an NBA player to earn $1 billion while still being an active player in the NBA.
Yeah.
So I do think that. I think financially over time, LeBron is going to be the more successful out of the two.
Right.
But still, like, there's nobody that can, and I say this all the time, whether it's like their game or their influence or whatever it is, like, he'll never take over Jordan, what he was and what he did for a generation of people and shit. Like, that was just
for the sport in general. Yeah.
Just like
period.
He was, that's the reason why there is a LeBron. Like, nobody really cared about the NBA internationally before, because they had their own basketball leagues and shit, and like, they didn't really matter that much. And now those guys are like worldwide celebrities because Jordan was that guy. So,
right.
Hey, shout out to LeBron. He's gonna keep making more and more money. I'm sure he's gonna keep making more movies, and I'm still gonna watch The Shop every time he decides to drop an episode, maybe once a year. Yeah. So the one thing that I did not like, and that the first Space Jam 1,000% has over this one, is the shoes. Those shoes from that movie were disgusting. Idiot. I don't know who the hell designed those, bro. They need to get Tinker Hatfield on the phone. Let's redo everything.
Yeah, but the thing is, LeBron, like, with his shoes, like, his shoes are just ugly. Like, I don't know. I guess Michael Jordan the design of the shoe and how it looked aesthetically was like a very big part of it. Obviously, you know, Tinker Hatfield is so well known for how involved he was, you know, with the creation and the design of the Air Jordans. But like, I feel like LeBron, they just make the shoes like so they don't like fall off his feet. Like they're just so bulky and like ugly, and then the colors are like all over the place. And it seems like when Jordans came out originally, they didn't come out in like 100 different colorways.
Nah, it was straight up just bread colorways.
Yeah, like it was black and red and white and red, and then the occasional like you had the Concords, which were white and black, the Space Jams, which were especially for the movie, you know. But like everything else, like maybe they had a couple other colors that were like he wouldn't wear, but they would just sell or whatever. But no, yeah, like for sure, like 1,000, and the uniforms too. The OG Space Jam uniform shit on these new ones.
Yeah, I did like this uniform. I think it was like a good twist on it because it wasn't trying to be the original so much. But definitely the original is just classic. Like you're never gonna beat that.
It was interesting that he was wearing number 6 in the movie.
Yeah,
I know he's changing his number here, but I guess that's probably so he's not, you know, again, something different from Michael Jordan. I wonder if, because obviously the movie they've been making for a while, so I wonder if like when he decided or when he announced that he was going to change his number to 6, like if it was already decided, like.
I was thinking about that too in the movie too.
Yeah, like he knew he was going to be number 6. Like he's been filming this movie for what, a year? Probably at least.
There was a video on Twitter that I literally just saw yesterday, and I think they said it was like June 20th last year where they really got into filming the movie.
Okay, so yeah, a little over a year. It was a good movie. Just, you know, leave it at that.
No, I liked it. I mean, that's like it's like one of those things where like I wouldn't recommend to somebody like if it was ass. Like if it was ass.
Yeah, I was telling my mom about it because she knows how much I liked the original Space Jam. That was like my favorite kids movie as a kid, and like to this day, that's like my favorite. That's like my number one children's movie that I liked growing up. And I was like, "You're not going to see this movie, are you?" She's like, "No, I'm not going to watch the LeBron Space Jam."
Yeah, I told my parents about it. I think they're going to watch it. It might have to be the case that I go over there and like force them to watch it, but it's like if they sit down and watch it, like they're going to enjoy it, obviously, because they've seen the first one and shit. So it's like, but if it was ass or if it was like so corny to the point where I would be like, nah, I don't ever want to watch this again, I would never tell them.
It got pretty close. Like when thinking back, like LeBron is like an awful actor.
He's terrible at acting, and I think that's what didn't help the movie at all.
I don't know why. Like I guess maybe because Jordan is just cooler.
Yeah,
because he's not a great actor either. He's not like, you know.
Yeah, he's just.
But I guess just because he was so much cooler in the movie, he was like nonchalant about everything. He was like laid back, and I feel like LeBron was trying to act.
Fact.
I don't know. It was another thing that Jordan's got on LeBron. He's better at acting.
He's better at acting. He's also better at drinking in public because LeBron got caught right away. What was it, game 2 or game 3? He got caught immediately with the Los Lobos under his seat.
Oh, that was LeBron that happened to him?
Yeah, LeBron brought a bottle to whatever his son's game it was in the finals.
Oh, yeah. I remember now. They showed him like on the sideline, and they're like, man, he's just trying to be there, like watch the basketball game.
Yeah, and somebody put on Twitter like, oh, it's crazy how they just let him come in the arena, and like he quote tweeted, he was like, "Let me, LOL." Like, boy, you not lit for sneaking that in there, and if you snuck it in there, you're a goofy for just leaving it there on the damn court.
He didn't sneak that giant bottle of tequila into
no way, bro.
Walking with his hand. Like,
bro, if it was a problem for Spike Lee to walk into the employee entrance of MSG, bro, with nothing on him, LeBron, there's no way that you just walked into whatever the Phoenix Arena is called with a bottle.
Yeah, why would they like? Yeah, no, he. That's just LeBron, man. You know, he is who he is. But so we had Space Jam. I mean, Space Jam probably should have been released after the NBA Finals ended, I think. But
I think so too.
You know, would have been a nice holdover until the Olympics actually start. Although that's going to be starting very soon.
I think the first game is Thursday, if I'm not mistaken.
You could be right. I think you might be. I just know it's really soon because they started like 2-3 weeks ago their exhibition games, which was looking scary for a while.
Yeah, and then they lost 2 players also that got replaced.
Bradley Beal was one, right, that they lost?
I think so. I think it was Bradley Beal and Kevin Love, and they got replaced by, Lord forgive me, I have no idea who either of those guys are.
So there's a lot of like LeBron's not playing. Giannis isn't. He doesn't represent Team USA anyway.
No.
Kevin Durant's not playing. James Harden's not playing.
No, Kevin Durant's playing.
Oh, you're right. Kevin Durant is playing. I'm sorry. He's
yeah.
He is. He's like.
He actually got into fake beef with Bam today, and it carried on to Twitter.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not see that.
They were shooting around during practice, and apparently Damian Lillard, I guess Kevin Durant made a shot and Damian Lillard took the ball and just continued to practice with it. And it was like, obviously, like, you hit the shot, you get the ball back. And Bam like picked up a random ball and then went to go shoot, and then Kevin Durant came up to him and was like, "Dog, like, that's my ball. I just made a shot." And Bam was just like, "Huh? Like, what are you talking about?" He was like, "Nah, bro, like, I hit the shot." He's like, "You didn't even shoot this ball." He's like, "Nah, that's my ball, bro." And he gave him a different ball. And he's like, "Nah, I want that one. That's the one I made the shot with." He was like, "All right, brother, give me that ball." And they switched balls, and then like it continued to Twitter, and like they were just like talking shit back and forth. He's like, "Nah, bro, like, you're not gonna lil bro me," and all this shit. It's just like stupid stuff. And then like Damian Lillard, I think like he said like, "Nah, it was Dame that took your ball. Don't try to lil bro me." And Dame was like, "Don't involve me in these shenanigans," or some shit like that.
How serious was it? Was it like...
Not? It looked a lot more serious. Like in the video, it looked like Kevin Durant was honestly just being an asshole. But I mean, you could tell like by the Twitter stuff, like it was a joke. Like, and you could see them like holding back laughs and shit. And like,
yeah,
Bam clearly wasn't taking it serious at all. Bam was just like, he just looked confused the whole time. Like, bro, what? Like he was like almost laughing. Like, all right, bro. But the replacements were, so it was Bradley Beal and Kevin Love, and they got replaced by JaVale McGee, which I feel like is a goofy ass replacement, and then Keldon Johnson. He plays for the Spurs. I don't know. I didn't pay attention to the Spurs this season, so I couldn't tell you.
I'm watching the video right now. I don't. It's weird because like Kevin Durant shoots it but then he doesn't like ask for the ball back. He like walks under the basket.
Literally. So I don't like. Again, that's why I think it was a joke.
Kevin Durant wearing a beanie?
Bro, he's wearing like a loose do-rag or some shit. It doesn't make any sense. It looks like he's wearing like an oversized swim cap or some shit.
Oh my God. Who's number 4? It's probably not good that I don't know who that is.
They don't have the they don't have it on here. They don't have the numbers on here because I'm looking at the roster right now. So there's a few players that have to like report to practice like immediately. Chris Middleton, Drew Holiday, and Devin Booker. Literally,
so all those guys are going to be playing for Team USA.
Yeah, so they're just going to have to fly out to Tokyo like today.
That's what's up then. So you got a little squad then.
Because the full roster is Bam, Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, Jeremy Grant, Draymond Green, Drew Holiday, Zach LaVine, Damian Lillard, JaVale McGee, Chris Middleton, and Jason Tatum. Which they were showing a commercial actually, and I don't like what's going on here. They showed a commercial I don't know if anybody else paid attention to it, but they showed a commercial during the finals about Team USA, and they were showing like the starters, and they were giving them their own screen. And instead of showing Bam, they showed Draymond Green. And during some of the exhibition games, that also happened. Bam is a starter for Team USA. Pop ended the game with Draymond Green as the center. And they ended up losing the game by like however much, whatever. And like Twitter was pissed about it. Just like, why the hell is Bam the starter? And then you're finishing the game off with Draymond Green. Like, give Bam the minutes, give Bam the time to close the game out. Obviously, like he played well in the first parts of the game. Why not let him close the game out and win it? Like, don't give those minutes to Draymond Green, where obviously Bam earned the starting spot over him.
Is there not somebody better that we could be sending than Draymond Green?
Apparently not, but I know a lot of players opted out too. Yeah. So I guess Draymond Green is just like the only one where it's like, just go ahead, go have fun.
Why are more? It does seem like more players are opting out. Do you think it's because the combination of like the weird season this year, the weird season last year, the pandemic, that has been going on for like a year and a half now?
I think it is a mix between the pandemic and then just like a lot of players feel like they didn't get the full rest. They didn't get like a true season either. So they're trying to just like work on themselves, and they don't want the distraction of like that, or take the risk of getting hurt in the off season and shit like that. So I think I do think for certain players it is going to be good, and it's necessary for them to go. Like Devin Booker, I feel like Devin Booker needs to continue. Yeah. Just keep going.
Oh, he's hot. Keep it going. Exactly.
Exactly. Like the last game he played kind of off. Game 1 and 2, also the finals, he was a little shaky. But continue. Just keep going. Don't slow down. Stay with the momentum you have right now, because next season you guys are going to need that. Start the season off strong. Secure a playoff spot early. Same thing with Bam. I think Bam needs to he ended the season on a bad note. I think he needs to turn it up. So once
he needs to get to work, keep working.
Yeah. So once the NBA season does start, like you're already warm, you're ready to go. There's no, there's no going into training camp and wiping the dust off. Nah, like you're on 10 already.
I think this is like a perfect opportunity for Bam. Like you said, end the season on a not so great note, but you've got an opportunity to like keep putting in work and do something and like play real competition, some of these teams, or a lot of these teams that they're going to be playing against. I mean, dude, the amount of NBA guys on Australia, Nigeria, Spain, Slovenia.
That team is crazy. And especially when some of these guys like finally go out there, or if they've opted out or whatever, but so a lot of guys aren't there for certain teams, or at least they weren't for the exhibition games. Yeah. But like you check the rosters. Hold on a second. That's one thing I want to check.
Be a different ball game. Like once the real games start.
What is?
I did not know Joe Ingles was Australian.
Yeah.
Is Greece's basketball team playing in the Olympics? Are the Antetokounmpo brothers going to be out there?
I don't know. Hold on. Let me check that right now. Olympic basketball schedule 2021. We have, they're only going to give me this. That's kind of whack. So they're only giving me this, but I'm sure we'll see it. Okay, Group A, Group B, and Group C. So there's the Czech Republic, France, Iran, USA, Australia, Germany, Italy, Nigeria, Argentina, Japan, Slovenia, and Spain. So I guess those are the only teams that, I guess because it was like preliminary games and you had to like make it
qualify. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to qualify for it. So I guess they didn't qualify.
It's probably based on like FIBA like rankings and wins and shit like that.
We will be seeing Luis Scola because Argentina made it. So
wow.
Olympic roster. Here we go.
Dude, not that we're gonna talk about soccer like ever on this podcast. Like we'd have to do something separate for that. But Inter Miami lost yesterday
again.
unless I just saw like what they just showed was from yesterday. They lost whatever they just showed. They lost 5-0 to New England. That might have been from yesterday.
I think it was from yesterday because I saw a tweet where somebody said, "Has the Inter Miami team ever actually won a game?"
Dude, it feels like they haven't. Like honestly, that's why we don't talk about them. It's funny though because I'm watching ESPN and it's like it's straight soccer right now.
Oh no, it's not that team. Okay, so I guess the team that I was thinking about didn't qualify, but for Slovenia, Zoran and Luka are on that team.
Is Goran not on it?
No, he's not. So I guess he's sitting out so we can get right for this year.
He's got too many. He's been dealing with too many injuries the last few years to.
Facts. I saw one of the exhibition games, like one of the qualifying games or whatever for the Olympics, but it was some team, and I don't remember the team that it was, but it was like Boban and then Buddy from the Heat, the one that we just acquired this season.
Balenciaga.
Yeah, Balenciaga. It was like a roster with them, and Bogdanovic was on there. And, bro, I was like, I'm watching this game, and they're going crazy. They were going crazy.
So they didn't make the Olympics, though? Because, that's it. Because I don't know, like, they're because of the whole Soviet Union shit, like, they're not all from the same country, but they're from, like, the same area.
They're from the same area, yeah. So I guess for certain things, like,
there's like Serbia, Slovenia, Montenegro, like those types of countries.
I think it was the Serbian national team.
I think Serbia is. I think Boban, Bogdanovic. I think they're Serbian.
Yeah, I think it was that team. Boom, 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 boom. Where's the roster? Are you guys serious? Yeah, that was the one. It was that team. I was watching some of their qualifying games, and bro, I couldn't believe it. Jokic, Jokic is on the team. Boban, Bogdanovic. Who was the other guy? Oh my God, I don't even know how to say his last name, but Marko Vladimir Lucic. He was nice. I don't think he's in the NBA, but he was dumb nice. There was a few players where I'm like, damn, bro, like just Jokic and Boban and Bogdanovic, bro. Like, all right, bro, that's ridiculous.
How did they not make it?
I honestly don't know, but I do know that Jokic wasn't playing, but he's a part of the team. I think at least I didn't see him play, to be honest. So he might have opted out, but he's supposed to be a part of that.
Sure a lot of these guys can't play. You know, if they're in the NBA, you know what I mean? Like facing a different qualification system and a national system without its key and most important players in nearly all the qualification matches. Yeah, it doesn't say anything about. I'm on Wikipedia. It doesn't say anything about the Olympics. But yeah, I guess it's just it seems like they maybe play the qualifying matches without the NBA guys, and they suffer as a result. How does that work? Because like the NBA stars that play in the Olympics aren't playing in like the FIBA tournaments, are they?
Well, I know that I did see Boban and Bogdanovic. They definitely played because I watched them play. But I know Jokic did not play. I did not see him in any of those games. But I don't think they play in like the regular FIBA games unless like there's no, like they don't have any ties to the NBA at that moment. So like those times where Goran is playing and winning like a championship overseas and then comes back a few weeks later into the NBA season just ready to go.
I feel like the European guys probably would rather play for their country. I think it means more to them.
Yeah, so I think for them they do play there like during the NBA offseason, but I don't think anyone else does. Like obviously Giannis is not playing for Greece in the offseason and shit like that, or right. I'm sure the Heat, basically the Heat bench is not playing for Nigeria on the offseason and shit. Like that's not a thing they're going to be doing on the regular.
Nigeria got a nice little squad.
Bruh. Who is it again? They have Precious. They have
Paula and Gabe Vincent.
And Gabe Vincent. Where, bro, I know you saw the whole thing with Stephen A. last week, where he was talking about that Japanese baseball player.
Yes,
and then,
I did see
bro,
that.
and then in the same day, he's talking about Team Nigeria and talking shit about Gabe Vincent, whatever his actual last name is, and we can't even pronounce these people's names. I don't even know why USA team is losing to them and blah blah. Like, whoa!
Stephen A. Smith was going crazy. Like the shit that he said about Shohei Ohtani, like can't be the face of baseball if you don't speak English. Like that sounds like the most like I don't know if I can even say it's racist, but like that's not something you would hear come out of like, you know, a black man's mouth. Like you would think he understands what it's like
be a little bit. Yeah, like you would think he'd be a little bit more sensitive to what's going on here. Like this man just went straight. He teleported us straight to Jim Crow era. Like, no, if he doesn't speak English, he can't fucking do this. Like, yo, relax.
Yo, what if like it was like a Hispanic player, you know, that didn't speak English, they spoke Spanish only. A lot of these guys. And actually, I heard a lot of baseball players, a lot of foreign baseball players, they speak English pretty decently, but they use interpreters because they don't want to say something and it be misconstrued, and then it's all over the media, and they got to deal with that. You know, like I heard a big reason why, because somebody was said like a Yankees reporter or someone said something about Gary Sanchez like not bothering to learn English, and everybody was like, no, he knows English. He just, you know, when you've got New York reporters in your face, you want to make sure that you say what you mean and that it doesn't get misconstrued, because then they're going to run with it. And he'd rather do that in his native language.
And under people talking about that whole situation with Ohtani, they said that a few years ago he gave a whole speech in English. Like he sat there in front of the press.
Everybody else in the world speaks two languages.
Yeah, so it's just like, bro, he can definitely speak English. He just chooses not to because it's not his first language. Like, they have interpreters there for him.
Right. When you say stuff like that, it sounds more like he can't be the face of baseball because he's Japanese.
Yeah.
You say, oh, because he doesn't speak English, but he does speak English. He just chooses not to. So then it kind of seems like that's what you're saying. You know, I'm not saying that is what he meant, but it's a thin line when you start saying someone can't be the face of this or that because of the language they speak, or, you know, you might as well say because he's not from this country. Like that's almost what it sounds like he's saying, but
exactly. Same thing with like
thing for Stephen A. Either he's saying that just for the engagement that comes from it.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It had to have been that. It had to be like Stephen A. just being Stephen A. and like try to stir the pot and like get a headline and thinking it's funny. But like, bro, you picked the wrong two things on the same day. Like somebody had to have set him up, bro. There's no way he was just like, this is it on his own. So somebody had to have been like, why don't you mention this?
I didn't know about the comments about Team Nigeria. That leads me to believe it's more about him being overworked and like the man just like is burning out. Like he does everything. Like he does too much. He
really does too much.
But yeah, I didn't think we were gonna get to that today. I kind of forgotten about it, but man, Stephen A. That was pretty wild.
Gee.
So, I mean, a weird place to end this episode, but my computer's about to die, so it is going to be where we end this. But we'll see what we do. We're thinking of maybe pivoting, going a different direction. But, you know, just as always, you got to stay tuned, stay wavy. We'll be back one way or another.
Facts.
Always.